career advice hub here, and then start answering some questions. So this question comes from Laura, I think it's Alamares, pursuing a bachelor's degree in accounting at the C.T. Bauer College of Business. And so basically she wants to know how to market herself to employees. Okay, now, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I'm probably the wrong person to ask this question to, because honestly, I believe in thinking outside of the box and going beyond the circle. In other words, I don't believe in following the standard on how you should get the attention of a potential employer. Now, most people will go through the whole process of, maybe filling out an application online or submitting their resume to say, maybe to, Monster.com or Indeed or something like that. But me, as it relates to me, I love to do research about a company and figure out what the weak points are in a company and tailor what is called a cover letter and my resume to exactly what the company's weaknesses are. Now, in business, there's two things, right? There's a thing called a SWOT, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then there's also what we call pestle forces. Now, pestle forces deals with political, economic, society, technology, legal. It deals with things that really we have no control over, okay? However, when it comes to internal business, that is where the SWOT comes into play. And part of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, I always look at a company's weakness and see how I can tailor my cover letter and my resume to their weakness. And so you might say, well, how can I find out information about stuff like that? Well, I can tell you this. Say, for example, if a company is publicly traded, right? If a company is publicly traded, you can literally look up their 10K. Now, a 10K is a financial report that has to be filed on an annual basis, and of course, there's 5Ks, and there are all these different types of reports that you have to file if you're a publicly traded company. Now, chances are, any and all problems, including a description of what the overall company's value proposition is, in other words, what they're delivering to their said consumer or their customer base, it's in that report. And so what I start doing is I start reading the report and finding out what it is or how it is I can help them based on what is weak about the company. And you might say, well, what if the company's not publicly traded? What if the company is an individual company, like, maybe some mom and pop shop company down the street, okay? Well, what I do is I basically go into the company, I start making observations about, say, maybe customer service, whatever it is about the company. I start doing an inventory on the company. And then I start anything that's weak about the company, like say if they're terrible at customer service, right? They don't return phone calls, they don't return emails. That's when I start tailoring everything that I do around making whatever they're weak at an opportunity for me to add my skill to help the company, okay? Now, there's some other untraditional things that I do too. Like say, for example, instead of going through the whole, Monster.com or Indeed.com, I'll go directly to the source. Like I'll bypass, I'll completely ignore what they're asking me to do. I'll go to the source, I'll gift wrap a resume. And you've heard me talk about that, and it actually worked. And it landed me in the mid-2000s, 3 interviews with 3 different radio stations here in the Houston market. After being out for almost 5 years, I basically surpassed hundreds of applications by delivering my resume in a gift wrap box, and it worked, and I got the attention. So I completely bypassed what people normally traditionally do by thinking outside the box and going beyond the circle. So I would have to say to you, Laura, you have to look at what employer you're trying to become employed by, right? And also, the other thing is, if you are a student, currently a student, then you may want to go and offer your services for free. In other words, you want to become an intern. And often, when you become an intern, becoming an intern for free typically leads to a paid intern, typically leads to a job down the road. Why? Because what you've done is you've created a certain amount of trust by getting in the door and learning the culture and learning exactly what it is that the company does and how you can deliver value to them by helping them grow their customer base and ultimately increasing their bottom line and that's their profit.